So we have a wedding to plan. Let's get right into the video. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So before we get right into this video, I just want to use this opportunity to say a very big congratulations to the engaged couples or the engaged bride watching this video. I hope things turn out well for you, and I hope you have a very splendid day on your wedding. So the first important thing that you have to do once you guys have picked a date for the wedding, everybody's aware now that's okay, you're gonna get married. The first thing that you have to do is the wedding cards. And these wedding cards, you're gonna do it in two sections. The first section is the handwritten wedding cards, and you need these handwritten wedding cards for the elders. Like nowadays, honestly, what is printed paper wedding cards are out of date. They are old-fashioned. But you cannot send an online wedding card to an elder unless you are it's an insult. It is an insult. So to give the wedding cards to the elders, you need to go with your parents, or you need to go with your parents and then take some gift items with you. So this is formally inviting the elders that, okay, see you, and my daughter wants to get married, this is what I've brought to honor you and invite you for the wedding. This is the card. Every information you need is on the card. Does it make sense? So that is what you do basically for the elders, and that is the first section. The second section is like for us, like we your friends, you understand? You just decorate one very nice flyer and put it, online, or you send it to your friends, send it via inbox. It saves you a lot of time, because you cannot be going to every of your friends' house to give them printed letters unless they stay close to you. But for me, I just posted it online and sent it to whoever I needed to send it to. I felt it was way cheaper for me and easier for me, So that is how I handled the wedding card section. So the second on my list is materials and sewing. See, this one is very important. Like, it's not a joke. As soon as you have distributed the wedding card, sister, immediately start looking for the material that you want to use for your wedding, and start looking for the fashion designer that you want to use for your wedding. See, all wrong, oh, see, I cannot speak this Yoruba well, but if you as a bride, you that's doing the wedding, the design for your clothes, like your outfit is not given, one of your bridesmaids comes more dressed than you, you have failed.
A failure? You are a failure. You can never make it.
See, it's just my own opinion. See, nobody should come for me, but you have not done a good job. How is somebody that is not doing the wedding come and be looking more glamorous than you? You see? That is why that is like the second on my list, because for me, I had to make sure that I look for a good designer. I can't be underdressed in my own wedding that we do once in a lifetime. No, it can't be me. It can't be me. See, but everybody has their own, everybody has the way they want to do their own thing. But for me, that was the second thing I went straight into. And one problem I had with picking material was color. I didn't even know what color of the day I wanted. It was that bad. I used to be like, okay, I want, this color, but I realized I don't want this. And another thing is, when picking your color, you have to check with your family as well. See the color that they want, so that, it will help you in the material sorting, and also you guys don't end up wearing the same thing. Do you understand? So you have to, when picking your material, you have to check for the color of the day. What color do you want? What color will the bride wear? What color will bride's family wear? What color will groom family wear? What color will Ashrebi girls wear? What color will friends wear? What color will, maybe if you have a particular place you used to work in, what color with your workplace, colleagues wear? So you have to pick all of that. So that's one thing that makes, selection of clothes very difficult, because you have to pick different colors, for each category of people coming for your wedding. So that's why you need to start it early, so that you don't end up, being confused on which color you have even given out. You need to start it early. And after you have gotten your material, you need to distribute it. You have to distribute to family and friends, colleagues and all of that. So it is very good you start early, so that you can have good quality material. Like, you can have a lot of options to explore. You're not doing last minute or die minute thing. You understand what I'm trying to say? You have a lot of options to explore, and then, things are going to go easy for you because you started early, and then whoever wants to take 3 months to sew his or her clothes, fine, it's left to the person, but the material aspect is sorted, and then you can get into the design of your clothes. That is another thing that is very important. And honestly, I found TikTok, Facebook, YouTube very helpful, because I didn't even know the style of clothes I wanted. I saw so many styles, I had so many styles saved on my phone, but getting close to the time I realized I need something, that can, like from the 7 seas away, they should be able to know that, oh, she's the one doing the wedding. But it's just me, Sha, I don't know. So you need, you need all this sorted out early. You need to get your designer early, because some tailors can disappoint you. That is one thing. Some tailors, Jesus, you're not the only one doing wedding. People are doing wedding every day. Do you understand? Some people book these designers for months, so to avoid yourself the last minute stress, calling your tailor what she gave me versus what she, all of that story. You don't need that on your wedding day. So you better start early. It's better you have it all done, kept in your wardrobe, and ready to wear. So that is why material and sewing is the second on my list, because it is quite difficult to get the color. It's quite difficult to distribute the material to whoever you need to distribute it to. And it's quite difficult to get a fashion designer that will give you what you want. You understand? And you don't need all this fire brigade approach when it comes to this, because it's like basically what people are going to see that day. So the third on my list is wedding gown sorting. I found this very difficult because in Asaba, we don't really have a lot of wedding gown designers. Do you understand? But luckily for me, I was able to find one wedding gown place where I could actually rent a gown. See, you should really look out for packages, with the wedding gown sorting, because some of these wedding gown vendors, they have like specific times that they do their promos. You understand? Promo packages. So for most of their promo packages, it really contains, their items can contain the wedding gown itself, the balloon stuff you wear under the gown, accessories, flowers, crown, all these things. Some of them even give you bridal robes. You understand? But it all comes in a package. And the best thing about these packages is you can actually book in advance, like months advance. Like all you need to do is to tell them the dates of your wedding. They will confirm if there's vacancy for that date, and then you may have to pay a deposit, and then later on you come to fit the gown, to be sure that this is the gown that you want. You pick the gown, and then they keep it for you, dry clean it and keep it for you in a safe place. You understand? So it's actually worth it to look for, packages when it comes to wedding gown. And it's good you do it early, because you don't want a situation whereby this particular gown that you've seen, you like it, they will not tell you that somebody else has already picked it for their own wedding day. And God forbid the person's wedding day not clash with your own. So earlier the better. It saves you the stress, honestly. Another thing you should look out for when it comes to wedding gown sorting is, do you want to buy this gown or do you want to rent it? The good thing about buying it is that it's yours. It's yours for life. There's nothing like you're not returning it back. Anything that happens to the gown, it depends on you. But the downside is you're going to spend a lot of money. The second point is renting a gown. When it comes to renting a gown, you need to take some certain things into consideration. One, there will be a pickup time for the wedding gown, and there will be a return time for the wedding gown. So if you make a mistake to return it later than the time given, there may be consequences. But the advantage is that it's actually cheaper. It saves you the stress, and especially if you don't have anything you want to use the gown to do later on, then you can make the decision yourself. The fourth on my list is hall hunting. Now, remember that I said earlier that you need to discuss with your partner how many days you want the wedding to be. Do you understand? Because when it comes to renting a hall, there are some decisions you need to take into consideration. I've seen people do their wedding in one day. So basically what they do is, you do the church wedding in the morning, and then in the evening you do traditional wedding. But they do it in their parents' house, or in a space. Or they can do it in a field. If it's cheaper, they do it in a field, or they do it in a hall. So you need to take all this into consideration and see what works for you. But if you're using a hall, it is best that one, you go early so that you can book the hall. You understand? To be sure that the day that you picked, somebody else has not already picked that day. That is, the hall is available that day to be used. You understand? And if you're using an open field for your wedding, you need to also, make inquiries, because you can't just do your wedding on anybody's field. You understand what I'm trying to say? So, this is all intertwined with how many days you want to do your wedding. You understand? And the downside of renting a hall is, one, more expenses, more money. You understand? But the good part is you have your space, you get to do whatever you want to do, So it all depends on you and your partner. But it's very important to factor hall hunting. You understand? Because especially if you're living in a place where there are limited halls, some places don't have a lot of halls. So you need to look for that early, and make arrangements. But but also when doing your wedding, in your father's compound, or in a space, that you can easily access, like your father's compound again, it saves you, that little money. You understand? So instead of paying for hall, you can just put canopies in your compound, have it well decorated. It saves you the time and the stress for hall. But then again, it depends on your budget, and also what you and your partner wants, and also how many days you're doing the wedding. So that aside, the next on my list is decoration of the hall. You cannot just get a hall and then you're not thinking of decorating it. That is not right. Well, you can if you want to, but I suggest you look for people that will decorate the hall. Most of these halls, they already have people contracted to do it. That people that once you book the hall, they come with the package. You understand? They're already given the job. You understand? Maybe you may just need to pay a little extra for their services, but you need to look for, if that service is not provided to you, that is, if the hall you rented, they don't have anybody that decorates the hall, you need to look for someone to decorate the hall. Another thing you should look out for in this hall hunting is chairs and table. Honestly, some of these halls, they don't provide this. Some of these halls, they only provide space. Do you understand? Like, it's just empty space. You understand? So you may have to look for chairs and table to rent, and your decorator can help you with that as well. So all this come with hall hunting. And that is that for hall hunting. So next on my list is accommodation. At this point, you're getting close to the wedding already. So you need to start thinking ahead. Accommodation such that if you, that is the lady, because definitely they do the wedding in the lady's place, right? So your in-laws are going to come over. Yourself and your husband you guys need to be looking at where they're going to stay. What hotel are you going to lodge your in-laws in? Or are they going to stay, maybe if you have access to maybe the space in your family house, they can stay there. But if there's no space, you need to make preparations ahead, and that's where accommodation comes into play. So most times it's always advisable to go to these hotels, look for which one is cheap and which one is durable. That is the one that people can stay in and be happy. You don't want to lodge your in-laws in. You don't want to lodge your in-laws in a place that is not habitable. So you need to go to each of these hotels, look at them. Do you like it? Is it comfortable? Will they enjoy themselves here? And then you talk to whoever is in charge of the hotels. If possible, book the rooms down. You understand? And one thing about this booking, you're not booking for one day. You have to prepare for, depending on how long the wedding is. You understand? So you may need to prepare for maybe 3 to 4 days, taking into consideration the time that they arrive and the time they're going to leave. You understand? And also, when looking for hotel or accommodation for your in-laws, you need to look for a place that you can get food easily, that is accessible, you understand, to the wedding venue. You understand? Where you're going to do the wedding. You need a place that is close by, so that on the day, when your in-laws are transporting from wherever the accommodation is to the venue, they don't get stuck in traffic. You just need a place that is close by, and that place too should have, food accessible, drinks accessible, in case any of them wants to help themselves outside. You don't want to keep them, stranded. And apart from that, even if the venue has food available, you yourself, that is the bride and the groom, you need to make preparations for them. That is, if possible, you need to get a caterer. You understand? That would, the caterer is going to provide food to only the people in the hotel. You understand? It's just a backup plan. And that was something that myself and my husband did, because the mistake, first off, we didn't want a situation whereby, we start buying food from the hotel, because the food in the hotel was quite expensive. We didn't want that. So we had somebody that prepared food for only people in the hotel. And it saved us the stress, because by the time maybe they came for the traditional wedding and they are retiring home for the night, instead of them looking for a way to sort food for themselves and everything, once you come back to your hotel room, everything is made available and ready. You understand? And also, it's not only food though, drinks as well, pure water, maybe Coke, whatever they want to drink. You have to make sure that all these are available. So if you have a caterer, you understand, that will bring the food, and then you have where you keep all these cartons of drink, in the hotel there, so anybody that needs can take, it will really save you the stress. But it depends on you. Okay, now the next on my list is makeup. As a bride, you need to look for a good makeup artist, a makeup artist that keeps to time as well, because when you're doing your wedding, and most of these things, they start very early, like the church wedding. Most of the time you have to prepare very early, and I'm talking about 10 a.m. in the morning. You understand? For the church wedding, you need a makeup artist that will come early, because you as a bride, you cannot be doing makeup by 8 o'clock. Makeup alone takes 2 hours. So you're gonna do your makeup early, and then you have to start taking pictures in your bridal robe, attire. You have to take pictures, before the event, because during the event you may not even have time. You may not have time, you understand, to get the beauty of the makeup, the beauty of the outfit rather, and with a very clean, glamorous face. Do you understand? So you need a makeup artist that keeps to time. You don't want the one that you say 8 o'clock, she's coming 9:30. Like that can spoil your day and your mood, and you don't need that. So you need to start looking for a good makeup artist with a good review. My next point is the hair you're gonna use for your wedding. Most people do their hair before the wedding, like a day before. That's what I did. I did my hair the day before my wedding because I felt, I wanted it to be fresh. I wanted my face to be like, shining, that she just did her hair. So it's left to you, But most people can decide to do their hair the morning of their wedding. That is when the makeup artist is doing their thing, the hair person is doing their thing. I didn't think that I would have time for that, so I just did my hair the day before because one, I wanted to use one hair or two. You understand? I didn't want to be changing hair, but it's left to you. Some people can decide to do different hairstyles. You understand? So, but the thing is, if you are using, maybe if you want to install a wig for your wedding, you need to look for the wig that you're going to use before the wedding. You understand what I'm trying to say? And also, if you have a particular hairstyle you want to do for your wedding, you need to do all that research, prior to the time, so that you don't get confused. You understand? And also, you can look for a good hair vendor, that will give you quality pieces of hair that you're going to use. Or you also look for a good hairstylist that can maybe come over if it's home service. You understand? The person can come over, do what the person needs to do. The person is on time, and the person will give you quality. The next point is your photographer and videographer. So some photographers and videographers, like, it can be like one person that will provide both services, or you can have a photographer separate and a videographer separate. It all depends on your budget, honestly. But I would say this is the most, like, after your material, this one is the most important one. Why? After the wedding, all you have is memories. Like, it's just a day. After that day is over, your time to shine has come and passed. So it's only videographer and it's only your photos you have. Understand? It's only your pictures you have. So if you do not choose well, another thing is, you need a photographer or a videographer that you can converse, somebody that understands that you're going to be working under pressure. Because during the day of the wedding, it's going to be pressure. Everybody's saying different things at the same time. So many people are talking at the same time. So many, and if you're the one that planned it, you have to make sure that things go well at the time or at the pace that you need them to be. So you're going to be all over the place. You need a videographer or a photographer that understands this, is calm with you, and is ready to work with you. Just like getting your wedding gown, there are also packages when it comes to booking these photographers or videographers. They have packages. So it depends on your budget, how much you're bringing to the table. That is the package that they will, give to you. And it is very important that you reach out to them early as well, because some people book in advance. Some people book in 6 months' time. Some people book, way ahead of time. And it's very good you book them early, because you need to know if the date has already been taken or if they're available to work with you that day. Understand? So booking them very early really counts for you. Another thing is, why it's important to book these people early is because prices change. You understand? The price of videography now, or photography now, or wedding gowns now, or even the makeup artist, or even your fashion design at this time will not be the same in 6 months' time. So it is better that you have paid a deposit down. You understand? It is better that you have paid a deposit down before, like, the wedding, rather than waiting till when it's close to the wedding and then they will give you inflated price. Another thing is, if they ask you for the time of the wedding and the wedding is like very close, the price they will give you will be very excessive, because it's like they're working under pressure for you. they are actually creating space for you. You're going to pay more. But if you book early, they won't inflate the price for you, because it's like they're working within their time schedule. Understand? So that's very good. And one thing with the photography you should look at for your photography, the photographer or the videographer will be in charge of the banner that you will use for your wedding day. So they'll be in charge of the banner. They will be in charge of your pre-wedding pictures, which you're going to use for your wedding day. Also, they will be in charge of maybe a photo frame, which you collect after the wedding. And then they'll be in charge of the photo album that will contain all the pictures of the day. Like, honestly, I can't stress these components. Like, I can't even overstress it. Maybe because it's me, I love pictures a lot, and pictures mean memory for me. Everybody is different. It may not be your thing, but I feel you need to get a very good photographer, or videographer. If that's the only thing you're able to get out of the wedding, then it's a win. Something that you can look back at and you smile, you're happy, then it's a win. Maybe for me, maybe for me, but it's a very good thing to have good photos that you can look back at. You understand? So that is it for photography and videography. Next on my list is your cake. Honestly, I didn't really give much significance to it. I'm not a cake person. I don't eat cake. I eat it, but it's not like I'm a fan. You understand? But for some people, they have fantasy for cake. So if you want something extraordinary done with your cake, it is better you start early to look for a vendor, you understand, that will do your cake for you. You understand? And all these things, when I say start early, it may look like like how many months do you have to plan a wedding? My sister, I feel each week give yourself a task. It will really help you. Have this checklist written out, and each week give yourself a task. So next on my list is the drinks. It is very good to get your drinks early, because drinks doesn't spoil. It's not perishable. You get it and keep it in one place, and also because prices of drink is unpredictable. It can be a certain price today, and tomorrow you go to the market and they tell you that it's not that price anymore, and there's nothing you can do. You just have to get it at that price they're telling you. So most times it's like one of the first things you should even buy. Just buy it down and keep. You understand? It really saves you the stress of last minute buying of drinks, which definitely they may be, but if you have a bulk saved down, it's really, really helpful. So you should remember that when purchasing your drinks, what exactly do you want it to cover? So when you're talking of purchasing your drinks, are you purchasing the drinks for the reception, the white wedding, after party? What are you purchasing the drinks for? You understand? So you need to know what exactly you're purchasing the drinks for. And it may sound funny, but some people don't drink. Do you understand? Some people don't drink, and maybe you may even want to use something else. Maybe for your wedding, you may want to use maybe parfait. You may want to use yogurt, so you need to factor all these things in, but all these will still come under drinks as well. So next on my list is DJ and MC / entertainment. See, you need a good DJ. You don't want DJ that will be playing south when you are going north. You need DJ that will be giving you the vibe. You need to be able to, shake body, make people they feel, themselves, You don't need a very dull DJ that will be playing, I don't understand the vibe it's playing. So it's very important you have a very good DJ. Another thing is the MC. You need a very lively MC. You don't want the MC that will be cracking one kind of funny joke, nobody's laughing. That'll be weird, won't it be? So you need to look for a very good MC as well. And entertainment, some people have dancers, come in before them. Okay, like for traditional weddings, some people have paid dancers, to come and dance with them, at least to lift the vibe, you understand, to entertain people. And maybe for the white wedding, so people have some kind of like, what I say, dancers again. But now these people are using, is it Barney or what? I don't know what, like, I don't distress myself, but just look for forms of entertainment, you understand. And this is entirely up to the MC, but you as a bride, you can go online and see what people are using to entertain their guests during their wedding, because it's your responsibility as the couple to make sure that your guest is well entertained. The next on my list is souvenirs. This is another good thing that you should get early. What do you want to share for the wedding? You understand? People cannot come for your event and then they will go empty-handed now. But you do, like, according to your budget, you understand how much you have available. But it is very good to go, to get your souvenirs ready early. Buy it in bulk, keep it at home. They don't need to spoil, you understand? And also, I know some people order, their gifts from China. You understand? I've heard people do that. You can order your gift. If the wedding is, let's say, it's not fast approaching, that is, you have a lot of time, you can order in bulk from China. It saves you the stress. You understand? That's if you know how to do these orders online. You understand? But if not, you can just go to maybe all these big markets. Like for those in Asaba, you can go to Onitsha market, buy these things in bulk, and then keep it in your house. Save yourself the stress. Or the next on my list is wedding pamphlets. That is those little books that they used to share on the day of the white wedding. The books that have the vows in them. Yes, that book. So it is very good. You look for who is going to do the typing and editing. You take the pictures from your photographer, you give it to the person edits it, makes this book look nice, and then you share it on the day of the white wedding. But I would not recommend that you do a lot, because after the wedding is basically useless. Some people don't, they throw it away. So don't stress yourself and do a lot. Just do very few. You understand? And next on my list is bouncers. It's left to you. Understand? It depends on what you want as a bride, but it's still worthy to take into consideration. If you want bouncers for your wedding, do you want your wedding to be invite only? Understand? That is when you may actually need bouncers. Understand? And also, not for only invite only, but maybe when they're spraying you money, you don't want close contact. You don't want people to have access to you, to be giving you money. Like, you understand what I'm trying to say? So you can just hire these bouncers to just make sure that things are in order. But it depends on your budget again. Last on my list is food. The reason why I put food last is because you can't really do much concerning food months before your wedding, because the price of food is not stable at all. Like, do you understand? Sometimes you can go to the market and this is a particular price they're giving to you. Later on, it's a different price. And when you're talking about food, you're talking about perishable items. You can't buy meat and keep it for 6 months in preparation for your wedding. The meat is going to lose, its value or viscosity or whatever. It's not going to be fresh anymore. So but the best thing you can do as a bride is to actually look for a caterer, like somebody that is going to help you with preparation of food. Just get the person down, discuss that this is what you need from the person, so that once it's getting close to the date, the person knows what to do. It will be worth paying your deposit down for this food. It will be worth paying your deposit down. It will also be worth you looking through a menu. That is, you guys sit down and you discuss what exactly you want for your menu. And that is like, maybe if you want 3-course meals, if you want like side dishes, you just have a particular list. How many dishes you want them to serve at your wedding. You understand? How many people are like, just factor a lot of things into consideration. And with your caterer, you should be able to do that, at least have a rough estimate before the time. That will really be helpful. But in all, what you can basically discuss with your caterer is the menu, the cost of food per person for the event. That is, if you're inviting maybe like 400 people, how much is she going to charge you for one person? You understand? And then the price of maybe non-perishable items at the beginning, and later on perishable items, and how much she's going to charge. And then you may want to be looking at maybe people that are going to serve the food that day. Are you going to have ushers, that are going to serve the food? So you need to look at that, and all this, comes with your caterer. You understand? The next on my list is accessories. So this is very important, especially for all these Edo brides, Igbo brides, that make use of the beads, that make use of the hostel. It will be very good for you to get a vendor that you can rent this from, because sometimes it can be quite expensive in some places. So if you're able to get a vendor that rents out all this, you can easily book them down and have it delivered to you the day before your wedding. One thing I'll say that really helped me in my wedding planning was, again, YouTube, Facebook, and then TikTok. See, don't be afraid to reach out to vendors online. Vendors that you see that their portfolio is giving, that is, like, you like what you see, they're doing a good job. My dear, don't be afraid to reach out to them. But make sure that before you engage anybody or before you give anybody money, you have seen the person with your 2 eyes, and you are sure that this person does what he or she is saying that he does. Because you don't want a situation whereby you give somebody money and then you find out that the person is fraud or a scam. So you don't need that. Make sure that before you hire somebody or you give somebody deposit, that you have gone to see where they are working, that is where they are going to be rendering the service from, or their shop. You understand? And that you have verified that this person is who they say they are. Once you have done this, investigation, and you are sure that this person is legit, then you can give the person deposit. That is to secure, your dates. Why I really want to emphasize on use of social media to look for these vendors is because sometimes you may not even know that these vendors are available. Like, let me use the example, my fashion designer. If not for social media, I would have never known. Like, some of these things, you don't see them coming. It's not like, even if I stayed in Asaba, I know Asaba very well. But if I see her on the road, I will not know that she does fashion designing and she's very good at it. You understand? But social media will open your eyes to see what people are doing. You understand? To see what vendors people are using. You understand? Another thing that I found really helpful on social media was people that have done their weddings. If you check their post, you see their vendors listed. Some of them do that. Some of them list their vendors under their post. So it will be worthwhile checking their post and then checking the vendors they used and communicating with these vendors. You understand? By the time you check the vendor's portfolio and you're happy, you can go on talking with the person, verify the person is okay, and then you pay your deposit. So my point is, social media is your best friend as a bride. From the list is up to you. You can arrange this list in each order, but make sure that you have a checklist. It will be very good for you to have this checklist and regulate it with your price so that you know where you are. You understand? So that you don't get lost. So as a bride, I really recommend it. Make sure you have a checklist and go according to your checklist so that you make sure that you are finished or you have attained each of your goal. And I know that it may be overwhelming, you understand? But as I said earlier, try to do it each week. Each week you have a task. You understand? Each week you have what you want to do. So this week you can maybe look out for fashion designers. Next week, you can look out for videographers and photographers. By doing that each week, you save yourself, stress, of having so many things to deal with at the same time, and you don't want that for yourself. Concerning food, see, some people used to have high table. Me, when I did my wedding, I had people on high table. It is not going to be nice that people came for your wedding, especially those on the high table, people that are recognized. They come for your wedding and there's no food, and sometimes caterers, before the food gets to the high table people, they take a bit of time. So I always recommend have a special chef or caterer that will serve only your high table. I call them high table supports. You understand? So those ones are for only high table people. They're not serving any other person, only high table. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It saves you the stress. You understand? Because there's this joy when you see people on the high table, which are elders, obviously. They have eaten. You understand? It saves you the stress. If you want, you can now decide that, okay, these high table support people can also maybe feed your in-laws, you understand, and then your family, you understand. So you don't want a situation whereby your own parents have not eaten. No, it won't be good. So this high table support idea is really beneficial, you understand, because they can focus on possibly the high table people as well as your in-laws and your family. You understand? Have a fan by your side. Hey, I cannot overemphasize this. See, I don't know. It's because it's your day. It gets so busy and you get so overwhelmed. Even though the weather is cold, you'll be feeling hot because you are doing so many things at the same time. Even if you have a wedding planner to plan the event for you, like, I don't know, maybe it's excitement. You just be feeling hot. Maybe for me, I was just feeling hot because I couldn't place it. I was so happy, so excited. So it was very good for me that I had a fan at my side, so it helped, relieve me, and also it helped save my makeup as well. So make sure you have a fan and a sleeper, sister. I only wore high heels for limited times, especially when I wanted to take pictures, but other times I was on flat slippers because you're going to be walking a lot of places. And even if you're not walking, the dancing, you understand, when you're on the dance floor and you're wearing stilettos, well, some people can do it, but for me, wearing stilettos on the dancing floor was kind of a no. Like, how will I move my body? Like, how will I give them the leper bed that they need for the wedding? You understand? How will I vibe? It's just too much for me. You understand? So if you're like me, just have your fan and your slippers at the side. It saves you the stress, it saves you the hustle, it saves you the tussle. You understand? You're just comfortable, and you have to make sure that you're comfortable because it's your wedding day. And also, see, another tip is brides. On your wedding day, your photographer is your best friend. See, he's your best friend though. He or she is your best friend because, see, you have to try to make sure you work with your photographer because, as I said before, after the wedding, you basically have nothing left, just pictures. And if you don't have a good photographer, or you and your photographer, you guys are not working hand in hand, you may just finish the wedding with pictures that you don't like, or pictures of your angles that are not. See, if it even means you calling your photographers, having a discussion with them that, okay, I like pictures from my right hand side, or I don't know, like, just try to make them your best friend. And also make sure that you're working with a photographer that knows how to manage time and can handle pressure not only from pressure from family. Oh my God. Pressure from family, pressure from the whole event itself. You need a photographer that can, handle all of that pressure. A photographer and a videographer as well that can handle all of that pressure. You understand? Try to make them your best friend. If your photographer say come, come. If your photographer say go, go. You understand? So that you have nice pictures at the end of the day. Please make sure that you're in a good mood throughout your wedding. See, I don't care what happens to you. Not like I don't care, but how will I put it now? No matter what happens, just leave it. Leave it. Take it as it's your birthday. Like it's the best day of your life. Because after that day, it's over. Otilo, your day has come and gone. You understand? So it's not worth it getting angry over things that day. Especially things that you cannot solve. How many things do you want to solve? How many things do you want to fix on your wedding day? There's not much you can do, than to get angry over it. You understand? So just try. It's not going to be easy, but try to make sure that you're happy. Because when you're happy, you get good pictures, you're in a good mood, you enjoy yourself, and you enjoy your day. With all of that being said, I hope I've been able to give you like a list or a checklist of things that you should do on your wedding day. And I hope you have been able to grab little tips and tricks of how to prepare for your wedding day. I don't know, but I just hope I've been able to enlighten you. That's all. As I said before, I'm gonna tag most of the vendors on the screen, and then you can decide to go after them if you are based in Asaba. But in all, I wish you a best wedding day ever. I wish you a blissful married life, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.